Hey everyone, it's Al. Before we begin our chat with Billy tonight, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Diabolical Coffee. It's devilishly good coffee and diabolically awesome swag. There's a roast for all tastes. You can order whole bean, coarse, and standard grind, espresso, and there's even a K-Cup option for single cup brewers. And for the duration of season 9 of our podcast, you can use the promo code ProduceStand for 10% off anything in the store. That's 10% off all coffee and merch. Thank you, Diabolical Coffee and Eric, for your support this season. Now, on to our chat with Billy Buttery.
That fresh produce stand there, that's a beauty.
What do you listen to?
My favorite murder podcast.
Taggart and Torrance podcast.
The produce stand.
Fucking sexy.
It's Freaky Friday, and that means we are once again out at the Produce Stand, a podcast paying tribute to the great Canadian show Letterkenny. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are many other podcasts about Letterkenny out there, but this one has a special guest tonight. I'm Al, your host, and joining me in the room as always is lovely Tanya, and online we have Squirrely Matt. Unfortunately, Victor couldn't join us tonight. Something about a day job. It's fucking embarrassing. And joining us tonight, let's see here. He's a veteran of Canadian film and television production. He's worked on notable films such as The Gate, National Lampoon Senior Trip, and Jigsaw. And but his television work's even more impressive with shows like Forever Night, Relic Hunter, Slings and Arrows, The Kink in My Hair, The Listener, and Cracked. But of course, we all know him as the director of photography on both Letterkenny and the new Shoresy show. Please join me in making some noise for Billy Buttery.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wait.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I regret nothing.
Welcome to the Produce Stand, Billy.
Hello, welcome. Thank you very much for following the show. It's great that you guys are following along and being fans of the show.
Thank you.
We love it, man.
Well,
we love it.
We appreciate you being on. I know it's been kind of a long time. We've been talking about this since probably spring.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, but I mean, we get it. Things get in the way, and the timing hasn't worked out until now.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're just going to jump right into it. First of all, where are you speaking to us from?
I'm back home in Toronto after finishing filming Shoresy in Sudbury. So I got back home yesterday afternoon and kind of settling back into city life. It's nice to go up without a parka on.
Oh yeah.
Refreshing.
Welcome back to the city.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you mentioned back home. Is this home for you? Hometown? Is this where you grew up?
This is where I grew up, and I was actually Toronto, and I was actually born in Toronto General Hospital, which is rare this day and age of someone actually from Toronto, born in Toronto.
Yeah, I'm in Toronto, but I definitely wasn't born here.
No.
Yeah, but then I spent my teenage years on a farm in Orangeville, Ontario. That's where Kiso and I have a similar background because he grew up in Listowel, Ontario.
Right, yeah, Orangeville.
Rural boys, you know.
Very cool. How long were you in Orangeville for?
I was in Orangeville probably from grade 8 until a couple years after high school.
Oh, so your formative years. So your teenage years.
Yes, my country with the beards in my legs years.
Very nice. So how did you get into the business, like the film and television business?
Well, I was a computer programmer, believe it or not. I finished high school really early. I skipped a grade, so I graduated like 17. I didn't want to go to school, so I went to work as a welder. And then a foreman, and then I worked to work at a lumberyard and decided, hey, I'd go back to school and became a computer programmer. And then I was doing my first job with software for Shaw Cable.
Wow. And
I got a call because I had a D license do I want to go to LA to film commercials with Derek Van Linde, who shot the original Alien, to drive a truck there.
Wow.
Nice. So off I went like 38 years ago and to drive a truck, and I never left the business. I said, he said, what do you do when you go back? I said, I don't know. I guess I'm in the programming job. He said, well, why don't you try the film business for a year or two?
Wow.
So still am.
So you could drive truck, and that turned into your career in television and
exactly, which is funny, right?
Amazing. Yeah. That's
amazing. You fell into it. It just stuck.
I totally fell into it. I had no ambition to get into the business, but
was it like a high, like you just like, this is fun and I got to keep going?
Yeah. It's kind of one of the few jobs you can be creative. I don't know how to describe that, but I did lighting for a long time. You probably saw my IMDb. I gaffed a lot of movies, like 23 movies and 200 episodes of television.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But just being creative is a fun gig, and you work when you feel like it. If you don't want to do a gig, you just don't accept a gig. So you're freelance, but once you get in demand, you're freelance as much as you want to be.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, you're as busy as you want to be, and you can take a break when you need to.
Exactly.
And you are one busy guy. So let's talk about this. So, I mean, the first credit in your IMDb profile is a movie called The Gate back in 87.
Yes.
And it says here you were a gaffer. So first of all, explain to me and Tanya, I think Matt knows, what is a gaffer? What does a gaffer do?
A gaffer is like the chief lighting technician. Mm-hmm. You're the liaison with the director of photography. And when you do movies, especially, like I was doing second unit on The Gate, which was my first, it's a big movie, actually. Made the Alliance not a double. I did Gate 2 also, but I worked in a visual effects unit with a little forced perspective with little minions and stuff running around. But the gaffer generally organizes the lighting crew. You're basically the chief lighting contractor. You tell them how many guys you need, the gear you need, and you work within their budget and get what they need.
Right.
And you make sure it happens on time, that they get their schedule.
And that was your first gig in film?
Yeah. Well, my first gig in film actually was commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Commercials, but then I split commercials and went in. And then as soon as I joined the union, I was put on the movie The Gate as an electric.
Right. And was that shot in Toronto?
It was shot in Toronto at Kleinberg Studios, which is just north of Toronto.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, drive by there a lot. Yeah, so it's a nice. I thought I didn't think those studios were that old. Like, if they seem new.
Oh, they're really old. They were built in like the 50s, I think, originally.
Okay.
They're really old. A lot of like the Fly shot there. A lot of movies out there. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and didn't know that. Okay. So after your first film, now as soon as I saw this show, I'm like, I remember this. And I might have been a little too young to watch it, but Forever Night. Yes. It's like a vampire cop in Toronto. And I remember this show very, very well.
It was a fun show to light because the director of photography and I made a pact going in. If this is about a vampire cop.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a comic book. So let's make the colors like yellows are really yellow, blues are really blue. Like in the Raven Bar, there's no white light. Let's just be out there. Let's be a little past what everybody else is doing right now. And we've actually won the best cinematography award that first season.
Really? Wow.
Nice.
That was the deal. Where like just don't do anything conventional, like double blue backlights. Like let's do everything more comic booky. You know, like.
And for that time, it was a bit of a departure. You didn't see a lot of that. I mean, you saw cop procedurals, but you never saw the whole like supernatural element of vampire.
No, totally. Yeah, I did Night Heat, a CBS cop show from in Canada. Like it was all straight up cop stuff though. It's a vampire cop. We just tried to take for a twist. I remember one person saying to me, we're talking about a script line, and they were like, "Oh, that doesn't make sense. He wouldn't do this." I said, "The show is about a vampire cop."
Exactly. Say no more.
He's 800 years old, and he's a cop in Toronto. Now, refresh my memory, because again, I was kind of young. Was that Toronto playing Toronto, or was that Toronto pretending to be?
It was Toronto playing Toronto. One of the first times we actually did that. Yes,
that's amazing. Yeah,
Brandon Davis was a real cool guy. The whole cast was pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Well, we like it when that happens. I mean, especially like I know Letterkenny doesn't exist, but at least it's Canada playing Canada.
Yeah,
exactly.
And all of us Canadians definitely know every time it's New York, but it's Toronto or something. We're like, we know all those places.
Yeah. You've been through all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they show me a location survey for an American movie. Like, okay, I filmed there, I filmed there, I filmed there, I filmed there.
Yeah.
I live down the street from that. I've eaten there.
I know where we park to Jenny. I know how it all works.
Well, my favorite story. I mean, I used to work downtown, like at King and University, and right across the street is the Roy Thompson Hall, and I love telling people that that's the base of the tower in The Boys. I forget what the tower is called, but that. And then when I show them the art, like because with computers they add 60 stories on top of it, but the base of that is Roy Thompson Hall.
Exactly. We do that a lot, is add tops to buildings or add buildings behind fences. I live at Yonge and Bloor in Toronto, so I'm like a downtown boy.
Oh, you're right down the
you're right there.
30th floor, Yonge and Bloor,
Wow, you're near Victor's gym. Very nice. National Lampoon Senior Trip. I mean, that's a pretty good franchise to be involved with. And
one got me excited when I was going through. Like, that's Matt Frewer. That's even a young Jeremy Renner at the time.
Young Jeremy Renner.
That was such like when I was younger, that was one of my favorite movies for a while there. I think I watched it on repeat. So when I saw that in your credits, I went nuts. Yeah,
we shot a bunch of time in Toronto. We actually did go to DC to shoot the stuff on the balcony, and some things there were. It was pretty fun. Tommy Chong playing the bus driver. Oh, what a trip he was!
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, in your role as a gaffer back then on the crew, how much access would it depend? I guess on whatever project you're working on, but how much access do you have to the actors?
like total access.
Yeah.
The gaffer is what I call the 10-foot circle, within the 10-foot circle, which is your director of photography, your gaffer, your key grip, and the camera operators. They're basically the 10-foot circle that run the set. The other 80 people are outside servicing the set. You are face to face with the actors as a gaffer or as a camera operator, especially because you have to have confidence with them. They have to trust in you that you're not going to shoot them if they don't look good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So on that thought though, like in early on in your career, are there any moments that really stood out as like, holy shit, this is where I am.
Mm-hmm.
This is happening. How cool is this? Like,
yeah, I guess I gaffed a movie with Walter Matthau was in it, and Harry Morgan and Stephanie Zimbalist, and the director was Ernest Day, who won an award he'd been nominated for Passage to India in cinematography, but he also, I think he operated Dr. Zhivago, Clockwork Orange,
wow.
Like serious movies. And the director's name was Delbert Mann, who won an Oscar for a movie called Marty with Ernest Borgnine, I think 1959 or something. So it was all these old guys, and I was in my 30s, and I was like the gaffer in Toronto.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool, and stuff like that. Like you look back and it's like, wow, what a nice shoot that was.
Were you a student of film, or did that come from just working around it? Because you knowing these directors and actors, did you already know them, or is it something you picked up as you were working?
Oh, I knew them from seeing their work, but I wasn't really a filmmaker. I learned filmmaking because it was my job. It's kind of a back-ass word. It wasn't my passion, but it became kind of my passion, lighting and, making of the product is nice. The commercials drive me nuts.
Right.
Like I don't do them anymore because it's just like, oh my God, we're selling tampons.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't look like you need the work. It looks like you're keeping pretty busy doing the fun stuff now. Yeah. Some other movies here that I didn't watch, but just some of the cast kind of piqued my interest. Like, for example, Losing Chase in '96, Helen Mirren, Beau Bridges.
Helen is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I've worked with Helen twice now. I worked with her on a movie I did some daily, just lighting, helping a buddy on Red too. But
you were on Red. I loved Red.
Helen Mirren was absolute dream. Kevin Bacon actually directed that movie.
Yeah.
It was his first directing job. He was a really cool guy. We just sat and taught kids all the time.
So what I'm hearing, Billy, is that now that we've interviewed you, we're only 2 degrees from Kevin Bacon now.
That's right.
Thank you for that. That's amazing.
Was in it too. Kira was in it too.
Yeah, Kira Sedgwick. I was going to mention her too. So that's an impressive cast there, and it's great to hear that Helen Mirren was a nice person, because she's amazing in her movies. She's amazing.
Absolute dream. I went to the rap party and I introduced to my wife sitting at the bar. I said, "Oh, this is Helen," and she's to just talk to my wife, who doesn't really talk to a lot of people. She just kind of socially distancing before it became popular.
Mm-hmm. Before it became popular.
So I introduced her to Helen, and they just talked for like an hour, and then she realized at the end it was Helen. But that's Helen Mirren. I said, "Yeah, I introduced you." She goes, "Oh my God, I didn't even realize." It's Helen Mirren. That's awesome.
Well, it probably took some of the pressure off of the conversation.
Oh, totally. Helen didn't know it. She was someone to talk to. Wasn't asking her about the film business, right?
That's amazing. Is your wife in the business as well?
Yeah, she's an assistant costumer designer.
Nice.
Okay.
I met her on Night Heat in 1986.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Met your wife on Night Heat. Amazing. Let's see here. Another movie that stood out just for the actors in it. Gang in Blue in '96. Yeah. Mario Van Peebles and Josh Brolin. That must have been something.
Yeah, they were both really young.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, Van Peebles seemed to be in everything back then, and Brolin
was. And actually, his son is in that Saw movie I did.
Oh yeah.
And he came to set and he saw me and he goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're still."
Oh, really?
I was a camera operator in that movie.
That's amazing. And Josh Brolin, that would have been, almost 10 years post Goonies, but still, he's
pretty young. Yeah, he was a fairly young man.
Mm-hmm. And then one, probably your biggest TV show to date at that point would have been Relic Hunter. Am I right?
Probably, I guess, yeah.
So,
I did that for a couple of years.
Tell the truth.
I got all the period teases. When they discovered the Relic, I filmed. That's all my work. It.
Cool.
And shot all the second unit, and then I do be a camera operator too on main unit. But my main gig was GOPing second unit.
All right, tell the truth. Tia Carrere in person, is she stunning?
She's sweet. Oh, she's stunning, sweetheart too. Like, absolute sweetheart, and her mother's really nice too.
Oh, or was her mom on set a lot?
So she would come visit and stay in Toronto for a few weeks and hang around the set.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah. I love it.
So when you get a lot of these actors coming up from Hollywood and staying in Toronto and stuff, like, are they happy to be up here, or do they wish that they could be doing this in California or in New York or whatever?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I think they like the hospitality and the anonymity of working in Toronto because they can go places where they can't go in New York.
Yeah.
But I never see that because I'm in that 10-foot circle on set. So when they're always on their best behavior when they come to me,
right? They're working. They're pros.
Shooting them, or both. So I never really hear the behind the scenes gossip. I mean, more my wife does, being in costumes, being in the trailers and shit. You hear things. Right. I wouldn't wear this. Well, you're not you. You know, you're playing a character.
Yeah.
So.
Very nice.
And in terms of location, I mean, it sounds like your career, if I understood it, started doing commercials in LA, but like how much of it was sort of split between here in Canada, LA, maybe other places, mostly Canada. And do you prefer that?
Yeah, but mostly Toronto, pretty much, or in Ontario, pretty much. I've never filmed out east, which is rare. Like I'm one of the anomalies in the film business, but I hear I would love it, but I haven't been out there.
Wow. Yeah, you should. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And what about BC though? There's a lot of filming in BC. Do you go out there a lot?
No, I don't, because they have a local IATSE local out there with their own camera department.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We service basically Eastern Canada, and they since recently started a Quebec branch, but IATSE 667, the International Cinematographer, services Eastern Canada, or there you can go, and get hired to go somewhere else. But
I see. So kind of the union kind of controls that, or not controls it, but kind of
sets our rates and things.
Yeah.
And then you can charge over scale if you're capable of it, if you're good enough.
You did a show called Slings and Arrows, and that featured, everyone's favorite Mountie, Paul Gross and Mark McKinney. How was that? That
was great. That was a dream. I did that for a couple seasons, and it was a fun show. It was very well written.
Yeah.
Very well written and great actors. So it was a lot of fun to work on. No guns, no bang ups, and no, the odd sword fight. But that was about it. Sword fight, yeah.
Very cool. What about the kink in my hair? We're going to skip forward a little bit. You were no longer a gaffer. Now we'll talk about that. Going from gaffer to camera operator. Like what did you have to do? Like,
well, my first gig, I was working for John Woo. I was doing a show called Once a Thief. And I was the main unit gaffer. And then probably to the year they said, you should be shooting. And they made me the second year DP. So I shot all the stunts.
Wow.
And then because I was there, I said, well, let me operate too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of started operating as after director of photography. And then I did like Power Play, which was a hockey show as an operator.
I remember that. Yeah.
Photography. And so I just been doing like a lot of second units, like there's things that aren't listed on my IMDb, like Hannibal season 1. I did season 1, second unit. I shot all the gut making and shit.
Why isn't this on your IMDb? This is, I
don't put stuff on my IMDb. They do.
They do.
And I knew there had to be some gaps in there.
Yeah.
You've been, and we'll get to it more in a minute, but I know you've been much more involved in Letterkenny than what IMDb. I think it only says like 9 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there since day one. I was the operator since day one. I met Jared Tissot and Jacob Turney. Day one, walked in. Hi, I'm Billy. I'm your camera operator, and
amazing.
And I started shooting, and it's like I said to Jacob, you and I think a lot alike. Like don't overstate the obvious. Like let's be different than everybody else. And we shoot it with guts. We edit it as he shoots it. You know what I mean? Like what do you never use? We don't shoot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know everyone wants us to get to Letterkenny, so I'm going to just fast forward through this because there's like a Murdoch Mysteries episode that you worked on that I know much of our listeners are. It's funny. We've got a lot of American listeners who, for some reason, have Canadian fever, and they watch these shows that most Canadians don't even watch. And Murdoch Mysteries is a big one. The Listener was another one, and that one there featured Melanie Scrofano who plays Mrs. McMurray. And also Milan Din Robic, I guess, from 1902, Tara Spencer Nairn from Corner Gas, and Ennis Esmer from Private Eyes. And talk about like Toronto playing Toronto.
Esmer is also from The Listener.
Oh, yeah, he's from The Listener too. Well, Private Eyes. Now, you never worked on that one, did you? Private Eyes?
No, I don't think so. No.
Oh, you don't know. Anyway, talk about a show that like where Toronto's playing Toronto. I really love how it's shot. Like the shots of the city on Private Eyes are gorgeous.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, for sure. And let's see. So that's it. Now, let's get. Last summer, when we were talking about having you on, you just finished shooting seasons 10 and 11 Letterkenny, and we were talking, but you were going to go work on a Star Trek project. Now, this thing, it sounded really cool because it's what is it exactly? It's a TV show?
It's called Strange New Worlds. I just did like 3 days a week on it. They called me when I was still in Letterkenny up in Sudbury. Hey, do you want to come down and be boring just operating? I said, no, it sounds like fun, the air wall. Basically, there's 7 sensors on your camera, on each camera. And as you move, they can make this, it's like a $9 million wall of monitors. And they can basically set it so to look like any set, like an engineering or a planet, and then you just do a few set pieces in the middle. And when you move your camera, this perspective changes with you. I suppose it's how they shot a lot of, what was the name of the show, the science fiction show?
I don't know, but
you'd move through it. In other words, if you move close to the wall, it would seem to move back to make the room endless, things like that reside where the dimensions of the room were.
So this is for augmented reality. Is this for what, like a 3D environment for an Oculus or something?
Basically, you build the set with visuals, and you can adjust the lighting individually. But like the flashing light on a pillar, you can adjust the intensity of that independently through a dimmer. Wow. It's incredible.
Hyper specific ability to just
just fine tune the picture, and then you calibrate. And if you want to do another camera, you shoot cross because the background would move, with one camera.
Yeah.
So you shoot across it. They'll see where you see, make that green and make sure the cover you covered. Then that part of the wall will become your perspective on it, which is totally different than the main perspective.
That's crazy.
So it'll move with your camera, that part of the wall.
Wow.
It's really trippy. If you're just standing there, you're not operating. It's like, whoa, the walls are moving. It's like a real life holodeck. Like you walk in the walls, you move the camera head, the walls move ahead of you.
Well, when you were first getting into television and film, did you ever dream that you'd be doing something like that?
No, never.
Wow.
All right.
I thought I'd been making tea, driving a truck.
I love that idea that you didn't, since how you had any formal background, you fell into it, you liked it, you got a good in, and then you just started to learn and you grew your career from there.
Totally. As soon as you think you know everything, you're done in this business. Like I say to people, have you ever done this before? I would say no, but I'm a quick learner. Like just show me once the right way to do it and I will know how to do it forever. And that's how I learned, which I think is better than going to film school. I think it worked with experienced pros who have done, kid, this is how you do it, and you learn fast or you don't last. Yeah. And if you want to move up, you not only have to do your job, you have to do your job plus the next level up almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like willing to grow.
Director of photography,
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. And we'll talk about that in a second. So let's talk Letterkenny. How did you get on Letterkenny? How did they find you?
A buddy of mine who was the original DOP, Jim Westenbrink, who left the show. I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay.
But he was there for the first, and he said, "You want to go to Sudbury, do this little show called Letterkenny?" And I was not doing much. I was just doing some rigging, lighting on the Expanse and shit, wiring the sets for him. And I said, sure. So I went up north and met Jacob and Jared. And I said, day one, like, this show is like really funny. Like this is going to go places. Like I'm going to retire on this show.
You saw the vision then.
Yeah.
Saw the vision. I've only missed one day because I'm part of one day because I went in sick. So that was one day out of 72 episodes we've shot.
Wow.
That's fair.
It's amazing.
So I ended up staying, and then they ended up promoting me to being the director of photography for the 2 seasons you haven't seen yet. But I was A operator up until now. So you'll start to see my work, and then we just shot Shoresy in Sudbury. So
yes, well, congratulations on the promotion, and they've been releasing a lot of stuff on season 10 recently, like a couple of like a teaser, and Hulu just put out a trailer which looks amazing. So already it already has a different kind of look and feel. So kudos to that. We'll talk about Shoresy in a second. So, but first of all, when we were talking, you said, and you said you talked to Jared, and Jared said that you should come on the podcast because you've been involved in every shot, or you've been present for every shot. So, that's amazing. So let's talk about some of that. Like, season 1, anything memorable, what were some of the memorable moments there?
I don't know. It was just all, I try to be technical so they can't make me laugh.
Right.
No matter what they do, they can't. Kate Trevor's busted me a couple times, but I've tried to not be technical. Like just keep an eye on the framing. We try to make it symmetrical.
Yeah.
And we kind of decided that if we just shoot people, the produce stands give me the most boring show in the world. Like, let's make it so like the world revolves around them. We're sitting there. The world turns behind them. Because that's the center of their universe. So we just kind of played with that, and let's just not shoot shit that we don't want to shoot. So we can do a lot of pages in a day, like make more time on a cool shot, as opposed to like every camera angle, like 11 coverages and 4 people are talking, like we don't need that. Geography trumps what's going on,
Well, I mean, and it's definitely got a definite look and feel that seems purposeful. And I'm thinking of some shots that recur a lot, that a lot of people we've talked about many times on our own podcast. For example, on the back porch with the wood obstructing their face. It seems like that shot is breaking every single rule in the book. First of all, whose idea was it, and why?
Okay, we decided we tried to do a block the first scene on the back porch. We realized we either had to go really high or really low or shoot too flat. So I said, why don't I got it with me or Jacob, or we talked together. It's like, why don't we just put the bars across their faces and show their eyes like Kilroy? Like, it'd be funny. We just cut their mouths off. So that sounds like a great edit. So we keep repeating it. But it's a funny bit. Yeah. It does break every rule. Never see their mouths move. Most the actors, their mouths are hidden.
Well, I bet it comes in handy though if you ever have to kind of like cut in a different dialogue from a different scene. If you
want to ADR, you totally could.
Yeah.
So I know, and I know you recently took on the DOP role. Can you just, for our listeners' sake, explain what the DOP, director of photography, does on set? From my understanding, you're essentially almost second in command. There's to be Jacob, running the creative side. You're running the camera crew and everything. Is that sort of a fair?
Yes. Jacob tells me the feel, and Jared, whatever. Mainly Jacob tells me the feel they want for a scene or a location, and then my job is to organize the grips and electrics and how to light it and make it happen. Get the I want the camera to go from here to here. I want basically you're like a. I don't know. Someone called me the general manager. I think kind of a weird analogy, but yeah, you're kind of like ultimately it's your ass on the line. And ultimately, with more responsibility comes more responsibility, right? So you have to make sure that it's good.
Absolutely,
it's more than good. It's really good.
Yeah. Well, they've obviously you've been doing a good job because they rewarded you with the DOP position. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'm trying to think of some other scenes that again.
The other one that always got me that I love is the barn scene.
Mm-hmm.
So the wide angle barn scene, you usually got Dan and Daryl sitting on either side, Wayne up on the platform, looking down at them, almost like a dictator looking over, and everyone's looking forward. I love it. I think that's such a strong shot. And like, talk to me about that one. Like, what?
I don't know. It just became like it just worked symmetrically to have Jared at the top of the standing up. Super right. It never really happened for a reason. I mean, that's Jacob, but it just kind of evolved that way. And it's such a great shot. We just kind of stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And is a lot of these kind of like shot, the initial frame thinking, is that coming from a Jacob or a Jared, or is that a collaboration? Like, how do some of these very unique, like you said, rule breaking kind of shots come to play?
It's organic. I mean, we all talk, but I mean, sometimes it's Jacob's idea, sometimes it's Jared's idea, sometimes it's my idea. We just, go with the flow. There's a great scene in the bar where they all walk out, and Modine's too, and they all walk out and they're all heads, and then Jimmy Dickskin walks out and his head's cut off.
Right. Yes.
Because he's so tall.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Cut his fucking head off. I didn't walk out.
Yeah, you guys really liked cutting.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We just kind of screw with things like that. Or the Canada Goose episode where we finish on their backs on their golf carts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I said, Jacob said, I don't think we really need to turn on and see the faces. I said, no, you know who the hell they are at this point.
Right.
It's such a nice shot behind them. It's a nice end to the episode with the scenic, the beauty and the wildlife. Why come around just so faces the same? So yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just a creative decision. So we just didn't give the editors any coverage from the front. It's like,
So how many of those decisions are made on site, or are they? Because I feel like I've seen like how some directors work. A lot of the shots are storyboarded and drawn and like predetermined. Like, is that how?
No, we don't storyboard anything.
No, nothing. So you go on site and then you figure out how to best block the shot.
You have an idea. But it's very organic. We see something, and Jacob said, well, why don't we do this? Or definitely certain scenes that have ideas how he wants to shoot it.
Right.
Absolutely. But sometimes he's just like, well, this works better. So it's not so set in stone. I think it's more creative that way. Or if someone comes up with a funny line, Like Jared will rewrite a line halfway through a scene and say, "Oh, it'd be really funny if he said this."
Right.
So we'll just redo that, but or just change it right then and there.
And we've had enough of the staff on now to tell us that if they do something funny and Jared and or Jacob like it, it stays. Yeah. That's amazing.
Totally.
Now, it's great because it seems like such a scripted show, especially with all the quick fire dialogue. So it's nice to hear that there's like opportunity there still for the personality of the actors still to add to that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to hit you with some listener questions. So we let our listeners on our private DM group know that you were coming on, and there was a lot of excitement and they couldn't wait. And I said, if you have any questions for Billy, send them in. So I've got a bunch here. Hopefully they're not too. I think you should be able to manage most of these. The first one though, it's not a question, it's a comment. The comment is, a good man with a good heart. He knows the shit out of the techie parts of film. You're gonna learn a thing or two, boys and ghouls, and that's from someone named Patrick Plywood McNeil.
Oh, Plywood. Yeah. He just worked me in as an electric. He's a Northern crew member who also plays one of the skids, obviously.
Yeah. We've had him on, so he's a great guy. He's our first cast member guest to come
great.
on. So
he's a technician from up north.
Yeah,
and we just kind of threw him in the skid with the skids, and he's kind of stuck. And then they upgraded him to an actor role, and so.
Yeah. And he so genuinely loves and just is so thankful for everything this show has done for him as well. It was so great to talk to him. So
yeah, totally. He's a good guy. He's grown a lot in the last 6 years, but I've known him. I see him, he was a young kid, kind of punky Sudbury,
Yeah.
And now he's like, he's a different guy, describe it. I don't even, he's bad before, but he's
right.
Nicer. You know what I mean? He's more together than he was 6 years ago.
That's good. Does he remind you maybe of yourself at that age? Because he's now gaffer, starting off in the business, maybe trying to get more work, or...
I guess. I mean, I see a lot of young gaffers. Young gaffers are like old gaffers now,
Very cool. Also, just back to your other roles, you did have an acting credit on, was it The Gate? Was it
Forever Night?
No, Forever Night. Oh, that's right. Was that something you thought about doing, acting, or no?
Well, the director just asked me if I'd like to do a part. Right. You just say, "Hey, you should be in this show." Mm-hmm. No, I've thought of it for sure. I used to play the bars in Toronto as a musician, so I'm not opposed to performing on stage or anything. But I mean, the techie world is cool behind the camera, and I like it.
Very cool. What kind of music did you play?
What's that?
What kind of music did you play?
All originals, acoustic or rock oriented, like kind of John Lennon influence.
Oh, nice.
Maybe a little bit folksy, maybe a little Tom Petty. But I used to play the clubs in Toronto, the Billy Buttery band, play Lee's Palace, and all the
Love it.
So
that actually
in another life.
That actually rings a bell. The Billy Buttery band. I feel like I've seen that on a marquee.
Quite possible.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so back to the listener questions. So our friend Awesome, she manages the Reddit forums, and so she's got obviously questions. First of all, she says, "Thank you for coming on the podcast. I have some questions that keep getting repeated on the Letterkenny Reddit." So first question was, has Letterkenny ever used green screen?
No, never.
Right.
Never.
That's what I know that's a hot button issue from.
It's so funny. I know people have said it. The film is a green screen. No, it's never ever been even a foot of green screen on Letterkenny.
Right.
That's all through the camera stuff.
There you go. So now the next question she has here. Could you please explain how the cinematography has evolved over the past 10 seasons of Letterkenny?
I think it's got more subtle. Well, it's hard to talk about till you see the new season, but it's got a little more cinematic as time goes on, I think.
I've definitely noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like the seasons we just shot, we used a better you've been using in the past. They're all 4K, but just a better, for you kids out there, Arri Alexa Mini, which is, good camera, and just kind of evolved the look. It's not so much much in your face, not so much comedy in your face as much,
Great. And then the last one here from her, how involved is Jared Kiso with the behind the camera aspects of making Letterkenny?
Very involved. It's his baby.
Right.
If there's a big question, it defers to him.
He's the final decider.
He's the final decider. And even if Jacob has a question, he'll say, Jared, you want this or you want this? You know, he is the final decider. It's his baby. I mean, he writes it.
He's the boss, right?
He's the boss. I'm lucky enough to call him my friend, but he's the boss.
That's so good.
Amazing. Now, our buddy Trace here had a few questions. He said, are there any deep cut homages to classic cinematography on Letterkenny? Have you thrown in any Easter eggs? We're saying, you know, this is a homage to this movie or anything like that, or no?
No, not really. No, I wouldn't say so. It's kind of its own thing.
All right. And
I mean, you get influenced by shots, you know, like symmetry. We're always big on ABC, always be symmetrical. Yeah. You know,
actually, or go ahead, Matt.
I was saying, what was the episode where Shoresy takes the shot on the ankles? And, And we assumed that was a throwback to the 72
Summit Series. Well, that's not so much
with Bobby Clark. I never thought of it. Yeah, kind of a little bit.
Well, the look of that scene, not so much the look of that scene, but the whole element of the, you know, taking the cheap shot for the team to win. But there are some scenes like in the season 10 trailer, there's a few like very dramatic looking scenes of Shoresy skating by himself on the ice that kind of bring to mind like old Forever Young or some of those like old hockey you know.
I guess.
But I guess, I mean, it's the same subject matter, right? So there are only so many different things you could do with a scene like that.
I guess so. The idea, I think you said he was bag skating, right? So ice back and forth.
Very cool. Another question from Trace. When you block a shot for a slow-mo scene, and there's a lot of that in this,
there is
it just shot normally, or does the fact it'll be slow-mo later affect how you shoot it? It's a good question, I think.
Usually I would like to set so I can jump to 60 frames if they want to, because they're notorious for just all of a sudden, let's go 60 frames here. Or I shouldn't say that. Generally, I know going into a scene after 60 frames.
Okay.
So I will know. So if you're lighting or camera operating is the same thing. Lighting, and you just try and build in the stop. So you know you have enough light for your lenses to lose a stop and a third of stop and still be within the range of your lens. Because that's what you lose going to 60 frames as opposed to 23.976, 24 frames. But digital 23.97.
So basically the idea there is if you're at 23 or 24 frames a second and you slow it down, it's choppy. So that's why you got to go to 60 frames a second so that it's more smooth.
It falls apart visually very fast.
Yeah. Okay. So you just kind of default to 60 frames a second when you think when there's might be like, does it say in the script, this is going to be slow-mo, or is this another decision?
Broken down on the call sheet, or sometimes it's in the script, or sometimes it's just a decision that's made. Like we'll just go into a scene and say, hey, do you want to do slow motion here? You know, like just a heads up for me, because I don't remember every single bit of every single day when you film so much, but because we block shoot a lot of episodes, you know.
Right.
So your call sheet has generally got a note on it, slow-mo, things like that.
Interesting. And last one from Trace. What shot did you are you proudest of? Can you think of a shot that you're most proud of so far?
No, not really.
Well, maybe let me.
What's your most memorable?
Memorable or favorite setup to work with. Whether it's Modine's or it's Skid's basement or outside at the.
I used to love I love the Skid's basement. I remember doing a shot where I was on a dolly track and we started dollying towards the head skid Tyler. And as we get towards him, we pushing the zoom at the same time. So it's like invisible. This was like you're dollying. And we end up like in a close up, it was like his eyeballs from seeing like the whole room.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Now, Adrian, another friend of ours, hardest scenes to shoot and like where you've had to use some like inventive troubleshooting.
I don't really know. I mean, there's a solution for everything, isn't there? I mean, there's no such problems, just opportunities. But
is it difficult to shoot like the snowy scenes, like the lighting and stuff with all the snow and the glare?
No, not really.
Those aren't difficult.
It's just cold. You got to dress warm. But no, they're not. You just have to remember that there's white snow on the ground. So you have to be aware of that fact that, you know, backlight's going to kick more, things like that. But there are going to be filled more in their eyes because they're walking on white. So it's a little different lighting, but not really that much. It's just bloody warm, you know. I just came home from Sudbury with like -20, you know.
Oh, terrible.
You just dress for it, you know.
Yeah.
Something bad.
And what about
even recording, but I mean, doing shooting between the indoor scenes and the outdoor scenes, do you, when you're doing, there's a lot of outdoor stuff and weather can change very fast. So how does that impact your day to day, especially in Sudbury, the cold weather, sun's out, it's overcast.
You just don't take your lenses from warm to cold very fast because they'll fog up. Right. And you have to give them to breathe out to come climatize. But as far as, you'll block shoot night scenes. Like we have a lot more night scenes in the new show than we do in Letterkenny nighttime exteriors. You just dress for it, really, and you just keep the camera climatized to the temperature of where you are. Or more the lenses, because they will fog on you. If you're cold, really cold, and you take them somewhere warm, you better have some time to wait, or you better take the lens you think you'll need first inside early to let it climatize so it doesn't fog on.
Right. There was a season that a lot of scenes were all the egg hall. Was that because the weather was just so terrible outside, or was that on?
No, that was all planned in the script. We don't avoid the outside because of the weather.
Okay.
Never.
Or even the crack and egg season.
The crack and egg season,
where those kind of took the place of the produce stand shots instead, right?
Yeah, that was winter. That was the reason in that. But I think we shot all that stuff in like 2 days. All the interior.
Oh, really? Wow.
The egg or something. It was not a lot of time because we just block shot everything, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like you guys are pretty efficient on set.
Yeah.
We move. We do more pages than most people think is humanly possible.
And everyone who's come on the show has said that same thing. They've all told us that you guys just fly through pages and
we eat through them. Because Jacob expects the actors to ride prepared. Like if you don't know your lines, he'll call you on it, which I think is very fair. And so they will be back at the hotel running the lines, and they come in ready to go. And if we only have to do a couple takes, then it definitely speeds things up. Now, and you have to take more takes. You were doing more complicated, but generally try and get it done a huge amount of takes. Like, it doesn't get funnier on take 9.
Fair enough.
I work with directors to do that. Oh, let's go again. It's take 15. Well, nothing's changed,
Yeah. There are so many scenes that are either difficult with the wording, like how fast, quick paced everything is, or just the pure funny, like the hilarity of it all. Like, how does everyone keep it together? Like sometimes it just seems like you must go through so many shots so everybody just keeps it together long enough so that you can get what you need.
You just can't laugh during take, especially if you're the camera operator. You're sitting there with the models with the director. You can't laugh. You have to hold it. You can't ruin the take.
Yeah.
I tried to ask this question of Kate Trevor when he was on, but it didn't come out right. But basically, were you ever in danger of losing a day, like losing daylight, because people kept on cracking and like, we got to get this take in?
The actors,
the actors.
Yeah, not because they're cracking, but we've fought daylight laws when every show in the world has. But I mean, sometimes you spend too long early in the day, you're going up and you're running into that, I call it scrimming the light every 10 seconds, the end of the day, to try and balance the levels. But you always run into that. That's the one nice thing about shooting night, is that you don't have to worry about that. The sun doesn't go down. The sun comes up, so you got all night.
Fair enough.
And sorry, Al, before we pivot away from this topic, I want to quickly talk about COVID for a second. I mean, you obviously, everything went on hold for a while, then you ramped back up and did 10, 11, and recently did Shoresy. But I mean, you guys are a tight crew, efficient crew, but with all the COVID protocols, and I mean, your responsibilities now with basically running the crew, like, how has that impacted shoot timeframes and scheduling and all that? Like, is that a whole new component that's throwing a big wrench into it all, or have you guys quickly adapted?
Well, with our union, I mean, with the camera union, we get tested 3 times a week. I get a swab up my nose 3 times a week for a year and a half. I mean, that's a matter of fact. To work on Shoresy, you had to prove proof of vaccine, full proof of vaccine. Before then, we have a whole new department now. Just takes tests, and you have to check in every morning that you're feeling okay. And so we've added a health department to the production kind of thing. Department.
Crazy.
So, which is the same on most shows. Like, now you cannot work unless you're tested. They will not let you near a set near the actors unless you've been tested within the last 48 hours.
Jeez, the world we live in now, eh?
Wow.
No, crazy.
What are I mean, I don't know if you know this, but now they're going on the road with the Letterkenny Live.
Yeah.
What are the restrictions there? Do you know, or is it?
I do not know about that. I was asking Jared about that the other day. I said, well, you said we're mostly going to do the States because Canada's they were basically going to finish the tour they started before COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, I got COVID. I was terrible.
Oh,
May
wow.
2020, I had it. It was fucking brutal. But
So
I think they're picking up a lot of American dates. You know, I don't think
because I mean, down in the States, they're not treating it the same. Right. So I was
more
wondering,
flexibility
like, for
down
example, last month, Dylan Playfair and who else is Tyler and Daly were at was it in Minnesota or Michigan? They were at a Comic-Con of some kind, and they were taking pictures with fans, and like there's no mask in sight. So like, you know, I wonder what I know they're treating it differently down there, but because they're on the cast, there must be some kind of expectations to them to be.
I don't know about that end of it. I mean, that's more Kara's end of it.
Yeah, right. Okay, fair enough.
And Shoresy is a total new cast, so those guys won't be back until we shoot the next round of Letterkenny.
There you go. So good point there. Let's see. Another question from Adrian. He's just talking about Letterkenny, the town of Letterkenny as a character, and is that kind of conscious? What I noticed, especially in the last season 9. There was a lot more. Especially in the sleepover episode, we'd never seen this before, but kind of a montage of scenes of Sudbury as Letterkenny at night. Now, is that like that felt very different from before? Is that something you guys are being more conscious about too?
I would have shot those because I would have been the A camera, but I would run off and do second unit at the time. Yeah, because we originally I shot stuff with the farm, like the barn, the sun coming up, and things like that, and then we thought we'd like to have some Sudbury shots, so we just bring it a little more into Sudbury. You know, I guess it just happened that way. And then they liked the shots, so they shot a bunch of things and they used chunks of them.
Yeah. It's cool. MJ Bonelli, he speaking of shooting in Sudbury, as the show increases in popularity, what are the challenges of shooting in a place like Sudbury? Do you get a lot of interruptions, a lot of fans showing up?
We don't advertise it on signboards as Letterkenny.
Right. But not everyone, but I mean, the people who need to know will probably be able to figure out where the farmhouse is, for example.
We've had people figure out from way out in Southern Ontario and show up at the farm, and they found out where the farm was and showed up. They drove like 3 hours to show up at the farm. We happened to be filming there, which is not that often.
Right.
And I said, they'd come on. I said, well, we can't actually drive on because I'm about to shoot snow shots at the front gate and stuff.
We shoot them off very quickly.
Well, we didn't,
You say we sick the
Call them
dogs
spare
on
parts and send them on their way.
Yeah. There you go.
It's become a little tighter since COVID. Obviously, people
Right. Yeah.
can't really wander on the set. I'm sorry. Even people's spouses from the crew can't really come on set because they're not on the current testing regimen, you know.
Fair enough.
Our buddy Steven asks, who laughs the most? Who do you laugh at the most? Who do you find the funniest on the set?
They're all funny. They're all funny in different ways. I mean, Kate Trevor's cracked me twice. This ad libs and the way you'll say things.
Right.
But they all make me chuckle. And I read the scripts, but it's usually when an ad lib gets thrown in or something.
Yeah.
And I try. Like, I purposely don't wear sound cans. I watch the visuals, even as director of photography, because if you listen to the sound, it's tougher to keep a straight face.
Right.
If I'm being scientific about watching the visuals, I hear what they're saying, but I try not to concentrate on that.
Right.
Then I don't crack.
Interesting. Yeah.
Nice.
And who breaks the easiest on the cast?
I don't know. I mean, that's a tough one.
I feel like I heard somewhere that the person who breaks the least is Lisa Codrington. Like, no one can break her.
Yeah. Oh, Lisa is hilarious. She makes all that shit up. And her body movement. Yeah, she's unbelievable. She's so talented. And the Skids sometimes too. Like the two of them, they'll just crack you because they make their own bits up and they have very physical comedy and you don't know what they're going to do. You don't have any idea, and every take is totally different.
Yeah, I was going to say how hard it is it.
Let them go, you know.
How hard is it to block for the Skids? Because a lot of their stuff is physical.
You two are over here.
Yeah. don't leave this square, basically.
Yeah, basically, no, they will leave the square.
Yeah,
they want to climb under his legs or something. You know?
Oh man,
it's just kind of, it's fun. It's all fun.
Yeah, but you guys have learned to use that to your advantage.
You guys are over here, you know.
That's amazing. I love this question from Steven. He wants to ask the Ted Lasso question. First concert, favorite concert.
First concert. The Who Exhibition Stadium.
Wow.
1978. 72,000 people that camped out for tickets.
That's a hell of a concert. That's amazing. Yeah. And your favorite? Was that the same?
No, Stevie Ray Vaughan at Massey Hall in Toronto.
Oh, that would be a great venue for that.
It was unbelievable. The sound was like, wow, closest thing you'd ever come to seeing Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
Wow.
You know,
Excellent. Yeah, Massey Hall. I mean, we've seen a couple of shows there, and it's just the sound. And I can't wait to go now after the reno. It's going to be, from all accounts, it's amazing.
Oh, I'm sure it is. It sounded great before.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Our buddy Justin, how have you seen the show evolve? Cinematography wise. I mean, you kind of already covered that, but how involved are Jacob and Jared in getting specific shots that they want? You kind of covered that as well. Do they allow you to have any creative direction with the shots?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a very kind of you guys work together and there's a lot of mutual respect there when it comes to the creative.
There has to be. That's what makes it work, right? If someone has a great idea, then I don't care if it's the fourth grip or the third AD. Then that's a great idea. We tell them that's a great idea. We don't. There's none of this ego like I'm the boss and no, that's a terrible idea. Turn around and say that's your idea 2 minutes later. That doesn't happen on this show.
That's good. I mean, and talk about that. I mean, the relationships on set. I mean, we get the vibe. It's a relatively small crew all in, I believe. You guys all seem to be very tight. Like, can you talk a bit about some of the relationships and some of the moments you guys have had when you're not shooting?
Yeah. Oh God. Season 1, we always still call it going all season 1. Season 1, we were all staying in the Travel Lodge in Sudbury. The production office, Jared, Jacob, everybody who was from out of town was staying in the Travel Lodge in Sudbury. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, we still call it going into bed on it going all season 1. It was a crazy nonstop party season 1. You know.
And who parties the hardest?
Oh my God. I think everybody can pull their weight. Kind
of comes with the territory, eh?
Kind of comes with the territory.
And no recording devices are allowed, right?
Exactly. Yeah. We're just carnies with a dental plan, right?
Now, I think this is public domain because you tweeted it out, but I did see a picture of you with a broken finger.
Yeah, I'm the only Letterkenny person to ever get in a fight in a bar in Sudbury.
I love it. I love it.
That's the story.
On a Sudbury Saturday night, I got in a fist fight in a bar, and I took the hockey boys were outside, and we're outside. And I'm all bleeding. So what happened? I just left you 30 seconds ago. Oh, long story. So not that long. It says 30 seconds ago.
Oh my God!
You met the guys from Upcountry.
So I went to work. So I had to call in work. I sort of straightened it on a glass window myself.
Oh man!
And then I wrapped it up in a towel because everyone said you should go to the hospital because the guy's teeth were embedded in my hand. You know, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm not going to go to the hospital at 2:00 in the morning in Sudbury on a Saturday night. The guy amazing. It's going to be there till morning. God knows what I'd see. So I paped it up in a towel so I wouldn't bleed all over my hotel bed. And went to bed and got up early Sunday morning. Went to the hospital and they wanted to re-see it on Monday morning. So I went into work like 2 hours late because they knew where it was. And Jared just started a slow clap as I
walked in. Amazing.
Was there a toughest guy in Sudbury joke in there somewhere?
Oh, there's lots of jokes. So don't touch his beer or he'll kill you. You know?
Oh, that's funny. The picture that you tweeted out is of you holding your hand up, showing the cast, and Jared's standing beside you, and he looks like he's like a proud dad because you want to fight in a bar, and like you said, you're the only Letterkenny cast.
I'm the old guy.
Yeah, that's amazing. Last question from Justin. How big is the team for the show? Is it a minimalist approach, or do you have like a large crew, for production crew? Like how big is it?
We're considered a tier A show now.
Mm-hmm.
You have like 4 or 5 full-time electrics, 5 full-time grips, multiple hair, makeup people, and then costumes. No, we're a full show now. We're not like a big show, like a big feature in Toronto, like Suicide Squad or something,
Right.
But it's kept try to keep to a minimum. We always joke we're the little show that could and did,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But of course it grows as time goes on,
It's also a pretty good sized ensemble cast. I mean, compared to some other comedies anyway.
Absolutely. Big ensemble cast,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of recurring characters.
Yeah.
Was there a bit of a growth in the show when Hulu picked you up in the US? Was there any noticeable change then?
No, not really.
Okay.
We just went about business the same way.
Yeah.
All right.
Other than the breakaway glass.
Yes, that's right.
Well,
The budget.
The breakaway bottle budget went up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right.
Good throwback.
Let's talk Shoresy for a second here. So you guys just wrapped up the first season of Shoresy. You got home yesterday or today?
Yesterday.
what can you tell us, if anything, about this new show?
It's actually set in Sudbury.
Okay.
I can't talk a lot about it, for obvious
Yeah,
reasons.
Sure.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, Shoresy moves to Sudbury and plays hockey. That's about all I can tell you.
That's all I
There
can
you go.
say. All right.
That's good.
Now,
Because I don't want to get,
no, we don't want to get you in trouble. So whatever you could tell us, that's great, and we'll take. And
it's
and-
very funny.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's different than Letterkenny.
Yeah.
It's very. I mean, they're both very funny, but it's funny in a different way. It's
And it looks like they're trying to build their own ensemble cast because other than Shoresy, whole new cast, right?
Yeah.
Can you? I don't even know if maybe you came to answer this. Stylistically, does it mirror some of the Letterkenny style, or is it a standalone?
It totally standalone.
All right,
It
cool.
does not look like Letterkenny.
Really?
Nice.
Wow.
There's a lot of excitement on it.
Yeah, everyone can't
Yeah.
wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was always.
We're shooting 2.3 9:1 widescreen, number one. So a different format. We're shooting on the Alexa Mini LF, which is large format cameras. It's a better camera.
Yeah.
Brand new lenses, brand new Zeiss lenses, Supremes. Just more. It's going to look different. It just it doesn't look the same.
Awesome.
You will see the difference immediately.
Nice.
You know.
Nice.
Well, we can't wait, and that's come. I think they said that was going to come out in the spring, right? Spring 2022.
Yeah, sometime in the spring. Yeah.
So we're looking forward to that, and that the timing works out well for us because we'll be able to go from Letterkenny season 10 into Shoresy season 1, and then I guess you can't tell us about Letterkenny season 11 when that might be
Can't tell
scheduled.
you about it.
No,
We shot it.
I had to try it. No, we know. We know you shot it, but or what about talks then about further seasons? Anything?
There's a lot of talk about carrying on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I think in an interview a while ago, Kiso said he could continue making Letterkenny as long as they let him, right? So
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Totally. I mean, he likes Letterkenny. Yeah. Shoresy's kind of his baby right now. Letterkenny's is his love. I mean, that's what's got him going, It's two different types of shows. So you can write for one, then the other, and they're different birds,
Yeah.
Just really quickly for our own selfish needs, do you know, has Kiso ever listened to this podcast?
I don't know.
Oh,
He doesn't do social media.
All right, fair enough.
We know that. We know that. We're trying to get a hold of him. He won't.
We thought we were close with Trevor Risk, but then he shut the door on us there too.
He's a private person like me. I don't, I tweet him anytime or, text him anytime about shit, but we don't. Yeah. He's not a public person. Well, I get it because people recognize him now, and
absolutely.
Well, we appreciate that you came on, being a private person, because this has been a great talk. Matt, did you want to ask him your question?
Oh, yeah, the one I ask everyone. Yeah. So with Letterkenny, I mean, it's come a long way. You've been there since day one. Yeah. Speak about the experience in terms of what does it mean to you as a Canadian, as a person in the industry working in what's now become such an iconic cult following of a Canadian show? Like, it's really just taken off worldwide. And what does it feel like to be a part of something that I would call really special?
It's cool. It's when I go up north for a couple months at a time, my wife says, "Oh, you're going to summer camp, aren't you?" And I'm like, yeah, like it is really cool. I'll wear some swag, just crew swag, and going to the liquor store, and they're all like, "Oh my God, you work in Letterkenny, what do you do?" And it's amazing the recognizability back. And you hear people saying lines to you, and it's like, that's funny, like how are you now, not so bad news,
And do you do that? I mean, we all do it. I actually, so I work in an office, but I will try to incorporate some of the lines into just meetings. Like I'll say like pitter patter, or someone will tell me something, I'm like, oh, let me just let that marinate. Like I'll try to connect them into my daily life. Yeah. Do you do it being around it so much just naturally now? Like, has it influenced even your own dialogue?
Not so much. Well, not so much. I mean, things we say sometimes end up in future episodes of shit.
Okay.
But
that's a good point. Are you guys careful what you say just in case something does end up, like something embarrassing ends up, I'm surprised we haven't had anybody break their finger in a bar fight yet,
Yeah, no, I know that one's never come up. After the doctor, lefty, hey? He says,
That's so good.
All right. So, I mean, again, Billy, thank you so much for coming on. We could do this another hour and just talking about all the other shows you've been part of. This is definitely like potentially a two-parter. So we'd love to have you back one day.
Yeah. Give me a shout.
Maybe when when Shoresy comes out, maybe we can do something after that. Just so
that sounds good. That sounds like a deal. When Shoresy comes out, I can talk about it.
Yeah, perfect. So it sounds like it'd be fun. Thank you so much for today. Also, I'd like to invite you, if you're around next Thursday, we're having our Ag Hall Social, which is basically what we're doing now, but we're going to have all our listeners join us as well. And, if you'd like to join, I can send you the link and you can join, and they'd be pleased as punch to be able to ask you
send me the
questions.
link and we'll see what I'm up to next Thursday.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
perfect.
That's all we can ask for.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, I'll echo too. Thank you so much, Billy. Like this was, I was even saying now before this was one of the ones I was most looking forward to. I mean, I originally started some of my career path down the television path. It didn't work out for me. It's fine. Yeah. Priorities change. But the technical side, I'm so fascinated by it, and I'm so just in love with how you guys have put this show together. So thank you for what you do. We all sit back and enjoy it, and hope you guys keep doing it for a long time.
Yes.
Me too, actually.
Because then we can keep the podcast going. So
that's a good deal.
Yeah, there you go. Any further? Do you have any final comments?
No, it was absolutely a pleasure to meet you, and thank you so much again. Like the guys have said, it was so much fun to hear all your stories and get a little bit more insight on the background of Letterkenny and stuff. Yeah. And happy holidays to you. That's coming up too. So enjoy your family downtime.
I'm home. I'm just gonna sit down and crack myself a cold one and
very good.
For sure.
Enjoy your break.
What's next for you? Do you have your next job lined up yet or no?
No, thankfully.
No,
I haven't agreed to anything. other than I'll be there when Letterkenny Shoresy goes again. But no, other than that, I have no plans. So my phone will ring. It happens.
I'm sure.
My phone rings and hey, do you want to come work? And do you want to come play? Usually they say.
Cool.
So
love it
that way.
Well, you can just enjoy your time off now, then, right?
That's what I plan on doing for the next month. Just
because I also saw that you're a new grandfather.
Yeah, well, I have 2 grandkids. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats. That's amazing.
Yeah. I know. Excellent. How do you ever see them? This is the COVID era. I've seen them like twice.
Oh, yeah. That's tough, eh? Are they in Toronto?
Yeah, north part of Toronto. My daughter's kids. And then my son is Renee. He's 7'3", like IA, like lighting guy. He's a lighting guy now.
Oh, he's in the business too? That's great.
He's in the business too, yeah.
Following in dad's footsteps, eh?
He hopes.
Amazing. All right, I'm going to play us off here with a song from one of my favorite songs from the show, from I think season 1. That's It, That's All, from by We Are the City. We'll just let this spool up here real quick. No, there we go. That's all we have for this episode. Billy, thank you again for joining us tonight. Is there anything you want to promote, or where can people find you online?
I'm being anonymous. Find me on Twitter. That's the only social media I do.
You like to keep things low key. That's awesome.
I like to keep low things low key.
Awesome.
Social distancing before it became popular. We spent all day being asked questions with people. At home, I just want
for sure.
hang out with my wife.
Great. Well, enjoy your time off. Don't forget to give our sponsor, Diabolical Coffee, some love. They are at diabolicalcoffee.com. Right now, you can use a promo code ProduceStand for 10% off any purchase from their site. If you'd like to support the podcast, rate us on iTunes or become a patron. There's a Patreon link on our site or Twitter profile at ProduceStandPod. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at ProduceStandPod. Thank you for joining us. Now we're going to go have a beer with our new buddy, Billy. And on behalf of Billy, Matt, Tanya, and myself, thank you for listening and have a great week. I hit the post.